Welcome back, boils and cools, it's Halloween! That means it's time for another one-hit Wonderland Spooktacular edition! Look, this is gonna be it. I've only done 4 previous episodes, and for 2 of them I was already scraping the barrel trying to find something that fit the theme. This is it, we're done. But I got one left in me, and it's a major one. This song is basically the progenitor of horror shock rock, from before Rob Zombie, before Ozzy Osbourne, before Alice Cooper, before any of them. In fact, I don't know why I didn't do it earlier. So, here we go, everyone, and if you know this cheery tune, feel free to sing along. A 1, a 2.
I am the god of hellfire,
And I bring you
fire. I'll take you to burn. Fire.
What the fuck? What even the fuck? What are we even looking at, you ask? Well, welcome everyone to the crazy world of Arthur Brown. Yes, that's the full name of the band, which really it had to be. Just the name Arthur Brown alone, it wouldn't nearly convey the weirdness of this weird thing we're looking at.
I'll see you burn.
And you may also ask, wait, are you serious? This was a hit? Yeah, this was a hit. A number 2 hit in the fall of 1968, just barely kept off the top spot by a little song called Hey Jude. Right, it was almost as big as Hey Jude. And yet, I'm not sure I would have ever heard of it were I not such an obsessive music geek, because they sure never played it on the oldie stations. I didn't see it in any of my dad's old cassettes. Nope. And yet, Arthur Brown and his crazy world were not only successful for one song, they may be one of the most influential one-hit wonders of all time. Everyone from Kiss to Marilyn Manson to even Peter Gabriel and George Clinton have said that they were inspired by this raving weirdo with the face paint and the flaming metal hula hoop on his head. But as fires go, Arthur Brown's music career was less raging inferno and more candle in the wind. But for one brief moment, he was a god of hellfire! And we're gonna figure out why he burnt out so quickly. Yeah, you wanted a Halloween episode? Here's your goddamn Halloween episode. Burn, baby, burn! The crazy world of Arthur Brown was originally known as just Arthur Brown, born in 1942 in North Yorkshire, England. But apparently he was into all sorts of shit as a kid, and his stage act was inspired by all sorts of everything he'd seen everywhere, including Viking rituals, kabuki theater, African tribal dances, just basically everything mixed into a stew. He does not say that his influences also included heavy illegal drug use. But really, does he need to? Here you can see one of their first singles.
Give him a flower. Give him a flower.
As you can see, he was still a bit of a ways off from the devil music at that point. It's a song about how when people do bad things to you, don't give them a punch, give them a flower.
Give him a flower. Give him a flower.
In case you can't tell, this is sarcastic. Goddamn hippies. And once you get the joke, it's pretty funny, but they decided that's not the direction they wanted to go. They didn't want to be a joke band, they wanted people to take them seriously. For a certain definition of serious.
Explosions in my brain shatter me to drops of rain.
So instead, their music got a little wilder and their costumes got more theatrical. But listen to this, no one's gonna play this on the radio, obviously, until this man stepped in. Yeah, Jimi Hendrix, aka the guy who released a song in the 60s called Fire that people actually remember.
Let me stand next to your fire.
And Arthur Brown went on tour with him once, and Hendrix liked him so much that he would go into the radio stations and tell them to start playing the crazy world of Arthur Brown. And when Jimi Hendrix tells you to do something, you do it. Hey, jump out of this plane! Yes, sir, Mr. Hendrix. So, even though the first single didn't take off, Arthur Brown had a sure firecracker with his second single, which he described as, quote, the worst song on the album.
I am the god of hellfire, and I bring you fire.
I'll take you to burn. Fire. I'll take you to learn.
I don't even really know what to say here.
See you burn.
I mean, if you don't like it in the first 5 seconds, you're not gonna like it, period. I remember just being blown away because the song doesn't ease you into it or anything. It's just immediately punches you in the face. It's just nothing and then suddenly screaming and then fire! Or more accurately, fire!
Fire.
Arthur Brown is not the first person to write a song about fire, obviously. But he was the first to discover that you don't actually need much else. Just say, fire! Loud enough, and you have a full song. A discovery that's lasted to this day. Even so, I cannot believe this got big. This is the kind of gonzo rock that could only have been a hit during the late 60s when everything was falling to shit, right? And yeah, it was, but the 60s weren't all riots and LSD. And if you look at the songs that were charting at the exact same time, it's not exactly Woodstock.
I'm a girl watcher. I'm a girl watcher.
Those were the days, my friend. We thought they'd.
God didn't make little green apples, lived on the snow in Minneapolis.
So having this play on the hit parade next to My Special Angel by the Vogues, that must have felt like a full-on shotgun blast of bad acid. Now, what's it about? Well, on the surface at least, Fire is not a very complicated or subtle song. It's about complete and total destruction of everything you value and love.
You worked hard and you saved and earned, but all of it's gone to burn.
Which is funny, because the actual idea of the song is apparently the exact opposite. Arthur Brown was super into meditation, and the idea is that fire is not the torments of hell, but the way to inner peace. The god of hellfire is here to burn away all the things that are holding you back. It's a very Zen, Buddhist, Fight Club-ish idea. The things you own end up owning you. And the only way to set yourself free is to let it all burn so that you can find your true self. Suffice to say, that's not what I ever took from it. What I got from it is fire! Fire! And additionally, in the album, the god of hellfire has an opposite twin brother, the god of pure fire, who brings you into enlightenment after the god of hellfire has burned everything. This all does sound a bit familiar to me.
Dayman, oh, of the night man, oh, champion of the sun.
Fire.
And despite the huge influence this band has had on music, Fire doesn't seem to be like a commonly known song. It's in that dead zone where it's too old and not metal enough to be played on hard rock stations, and it's too weird and unpleasant to be played on oldie stations. And if I'm honest, I wouldn't quite call it a favorite song of mine either. I mean, I do like it a lot, but once you got the first 10 seconds of it, you basically got the entire thing. I mean, it does get louder from there, but that's about it. It's really not much of a song, I guess. But it's one of those things that is just so bizarre and wonderful that you can't help but appreciate it. But boy, if you thought this was crazy, you ain't seen nothing yet. I'm not sure the follow-up single is even a fair way to assess Arthur Brown. He seems to have been more of an album artist. I mean, can you properly understand Fire if you don't hear the full Fire poem that precedes it? It just adds so much more. But he did release a second single. It's a cover of Screamin' Jay Hawkins' I Put a Spell on You.
I put a spell on you, yeah. Because you're mine.
I don't know. I mean, I know I called Arthur Brown the original shock rocker, but Screamin' Jay Hawkins was probably like the original. So if you know like the first song, I just don't feel like there's a whole lot Arthur Brown's gonna add with his version. Kind of reminds me of like Tim Burton saying, "Why don't I do a remake of Willy Wonka or Alice in Wonderland or I don't know, The Munsters." I'm sure he's working on that next. Won't that be clever and new? I can update it with, make it all creepy. It's like, no, it's too obvious. It's not really an update. We already knew what's creepy. There is a better cover on that album, for the record, of James Brown's "I've Got Money." See, now that's the kind of song that would appreciate an acid rock remake. But if you want to follow up that really failed, you have to check out the Crazy World's second album, Strangeland. I dare say that you would be hard-pressed to find any album that ever failed harder. Why? Because the record company didn't even release it. It did not surface publicly until the late 80s, and if you listen to it, you can see why. Arthur Brown's Crazy World wasn't fun weird anymore, it was just weird. I don't know, it's just a lot of noise to me. If you really like Frank Zappa or Captain Beefheart, you might be into it, but it was just too odd for the label. Also, the band was finding it hard to tour because with all the pyrotechnics and everything, most venues were worried that they were going to accidentally burn the whole place down. So, they had no record, they couldn't tour, they broke up. Surprise. Yeah. Arthur Brown started a new band, Kingdom Come.
Nobody's here to help you now.
They were a psychedelic progressive rock band. They released 3 albums in the early 70s. I'm not much of a prog rock guy, but if you like King Crimson, you might enjoy this. Their first album is called Galactic Zoo Dossier, because all the songs are about alien zoo animals. Yeah, it's an intense record, but it's all a little short of hooks. And after that ended, Arthur Brown just did a whole mess of weird things. He was in the movie Tommy, based on the Who album. He moved to Burundi and started a 9-piece rock band called the Burundi National Orchestra. He released new music off and on over the course of 4 decades. He moved to Austin, Texas, where he started a carpentry business with one of Frank Zappa's mothers of invention. And he still pops up every now and then in random places. And get this, he's still touring. At age 75 in 2017, he is still touring. And I tell you, I can only hope that this is the man I am at that age. Hell, this is the man I wish I was at my current age. Fuck yeah, we should all age so well. Yes, absolutely. This band is so goddamn influential, an inspiration to so many weirdos. So many much more famous and successful rock stars owe so much to him that I'm pretty sure they all try to buy him lunch every day. He's just that impressive. And yeah, okay, maybe he was too weird to gain any traction. I can't really imagine a world where Kingdom Come or Strangelands go platinum or anything. But still, this man was an absolute original. He shaped rock and roll, a genuine oddball imitated for decades since. I mean, he set his head aflame and shouted, "Fire!" What more could you possibly ask for?